The burning of fossil fuels by humans is the largest source of carbon dioxide, which is one of the greenhouse gases that allows radioactive forcing and contributes to global warming. Coal is the number one releaser of carbon into the air. The U.S. holds less than 5% of the world's population, but due to large houses and private car users, more than a quarter of the world's supply of fossil fuels. In the United States, more than 90% of the greenhouse gas emissions came from the combustion of fossil fuels. Combustion of fossil fuels also produces other air pollutants such as nitrogen oxides, sulfur dioxide, volatile organic compounds, and heavy metals. Fossil fuels also contain radioactive material, mainly uranium and thorium, which are released into the atmosphere. In 2000, about 12,000 tons of thorium and 5,000 tons of uranium were released worldwide from the burning of coal. It is estimated that during 1982, coal combustion released 155 times as much radioactive material into the atmosphere as the 3 Mile incident. Harvesting, processing, and distributing fossil fuels can also create environmental concerns. Coal mining methods, particularly mountaintop removal and strip mining, have negative environmental impacts, and offshore oil drilling poses a hazard to aquatic organisms. Oil refineries also have a negative environmental impact, including the air and water pollution. Transportation of coal requires the use of diesel-powered locomotives, while crude oil is typically transported by tanker ships, each of which requires the combustion of additional fossil fuels. Also, with the increase of oil spills in the ocean, which also have a very negative effect on the organisms that live in the ocean and on land. A strong greenhouse effect will warm the oceans also, and partially melt glaciers and other ice, increasing the sea level, which has a negative effect on us. So overall, the burning of fossil fuels is really bad. It's going to have a bad end, and we're going to have to pay for it.
The burning of fossil fuels will convert habitats to cropland, which is needed to feed the amount of people in the U.S. 5.6 billion acres of cropland would be needed to be able to feed the current population. 5.6 billion acres equivalent to the land area of the U.S., Canada, and India. Meanwhile, some crops and other plants may respond favorably to the increased atmospheric CO2. Growing more vigorously and using water more efficiently. At the same time, higher temperatures, shifting climate patterns may change the areas where crops grow best and affect the makeup of natural plant communities.
Unfortunately, there are many economic risks to burning fossil fuels. Americans consume between $700 billion and $1 trillion of coal, natural gas, and oil each year. If we continue along the same path, we will spend $23 trillion on fossil fuels by 2030. 85% of our energy supplies comes from fossil fuels. Each family spends about 10% of their money on fossil fuels each year. The cost of gasoline depends on the transportation of it and the cost of labor and materials to build energy-generating plants. Also, most of the oil supply comes from politically unstable countries, so there is some risk to import it. Other countries have to rely on these countries, mostly in the Middle East, for their oil, so they have very little control over this business.
There's a lot of money associated with burning fossil fuels. The United States depends on fossil fuels for 85% of our energy supply. Burning fossil fuels are currently a necessity in our everyday lives. Everyone in a more developing country cannot get around consuming fossil fuels. If you want to heat in your home or electricity, a power plant somewhere is burning fossil fuels to make that happen. This is why there is so much economic opportunity that is prevalent in companies burning fossil fuels. Companies that burn fossil fuels make billions of dollars a year. In 2012, Xcel made $10.12 billion in revenue. Now that you understand the economic benefits of burning fossil fuels, you may understand why people overlook the ecological downfalls of burning fossil fuels.